Hello. We are driving.
Yeah.
And it's just me and Boston.
For once.
And we were sitting here talking about a bunch of different people who we've talked to lately who have a child going through an eating disorder and how hard it is and how alone you feel. And just, it's almost the anniversary when she came home from her eating disorder facility. So all the things eating disorder that I guess mainly we just want people to know they're not alone. Also answer some of the questions that we keep getting as a mom or a girl going through it. So we have a little minute of a drive. This is all going to be just informal, but first of all, I think if Boston, you could give a little. We haven't talked about what we're going to say, so I'm just going to throw stuff out. You just respond. Or any ideas of things parents have asked you and stuff. So first of all, Boston, what does it feel like? I think the hard part as a mom, I went through a little bit of an eating disorder when I was younger, so I have a little bit of knowledge, but a lot of moms are new. Like they're going through this for the first time with their child, feeling helpless, feeling alone. What does it feel like to go to kind of get sucked into an eating disorder? And tell us like the energy that is inside of you and the drive and the fears and just everything that you can think of that would help someone understand a person going through an eating disorder, because it's not like you should just stop and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, the biggest thing for me, and I think for a lot of people who are struggling with eating disorders, is that everything's really driven by fear. Like, it's not like you're like, oh, I'm just not going to eat because I just don't want to. I just don't feel like it. Like, it's really like, you need to do this, and this is satisfying a need of some sort. Whether it's your belief that you need to be perfect, or that you need to look perfect, or it's just like it's a coping mechanism, if anything. Like, a way to kind of deal with this fear and deal with this self-hatred. It's like a way to fix something and control. That's kind of a lot. I think it could be a lot of things for different people, but I know that it's very driven by fear and anxiety. It's a big part.
Yeah. So what is, like, you wake up, what is the first thing? I know you said there's a lot of just like thoughts that are constantly running through your mind. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you would wake up some days, on the hard days?
I think it's really hard because eating disorders and recovery isn't just, it fluctuates from day to day, but on some of the hard days I would wake up and be like, okay, how do I avoid food? Like, how do I like not eat? Or like all I could think about was food the moment I woke up. I went to bed thinking about it, so I woke up thinking about it, and I would be like, okay, how do I avoid it? Or how do I eat something that is safe and isn't scary and isn't hard? Like, how do I do that? And at first it was almost easier when it was just me and I was alone in it and my family didn't know and no one like really knew what was going on. So I could just make something super small and super weird or just like slip by without anyone notice that I wasn't having breakfast. That was almost easier because then like there were no eyes on me. I didn't feel pressured to like try to be normal, I guess. Not normal, but just
do what you knew that they were going to make you do.
Yeah, because I didn't want to give it up, and like it wasn't something I was trying to actively like not push down but work through. It was a coping mechanism, so I was clinging to it and I wanted to still engage in those behaviors. So yeah, a lot of time I would just wake up like, hey, how do I avoid, or how do I
almost like
get afraid?
What's going to be the best way I can keep the control?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you're in it, it's like you don't have the desire to get better.
No.
You don't want to get better, so it's more like, how can I hide this the best day?
Yeah.
Without getting caught, almost.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's not that I didn't want to eat anything. I never really, sometimes I wouldn't even like miss breakfast because like all my family's eating breakfast, and like if I missed it, then it'd be like, no, you need to eat. So then it would be more obsessive, like, okay, how do I eat the healthiest thing, the smallest thing with the least calories, least carbs, whatever it was. And yeah, I didn't want to not do that.
Right. Okay, so I know a lot of people have been like, well, they should just like not be so vain. Like, how do you just keep not taking care of your body? What would you tell people that have those beliefs on an eating disorder?
Like, how do you start taking care of your body?
No, more for the people on the outside. When people are looking and going like, just eat, like, just, it's not that hard, you know?
Yeah.
Why would you want to hurt your body?
I think in the midst of it, of like an eating disorder, like you think you're doing the right thing for yourself, like you have to do this, like it's your thing. Like some people like do sports, or they have their thing that makes them healthy or makes them who they are, and this is your thing. Like you are really healthy eater, don't eat a lot, or really, I don't know, but
okay, wait, I remember you saying something, tell me if I'm wrong, if I quote it wrong, when you were at the center and we do some of our Zoom counseling calls.
Yeah.
You were saying like, well, I'm not the best at this, I'm not the best at this, I'm not the best at this, so I'm going to be the freaking best at being skinny.
It was my thing, and no matter how skinny I got or how like bad it became, how little I ate, like it never was enough. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I even now, honestly, I look back in pictures and I just can't see it. Like I can't see how bad it was. And I think that comes with, everyone struggles with different types of eating disorders. Like there's like binge eating and anorexia, or even like body dysmorphia, but I definitely struggled with body dysmorphia. Like I couldn't see that it was bad, and like it was never enough, and I was never enough, and so I had to keep doing this to one day become enough. And so it was just my thing. Like that's what I thought I had to do.
Right. Okay, another thing I've been getting a lot from moms saying like, my daughter says she can control it and she's gonna figure it out on her own. Do you believe that's possible?
I don't. Like you have to, I don't know, you have to have a good support system. Like if you believe that this needs to be a part of you, and you've been participating in these behaviors for so long, sometimes you don't even see it. Sometimes like I'll go through a day thinking everything's fine, and then I break down at night and I'm like, what's going on? And I think back on my day, and I was like, every second of the day I was beating myself up and trying to control my food and trying to control everything, and the whole day was just stressful, full of comparisons, and like I didn't even see it until I was breaking down and talking to my mom that like, why is it so hard? Like I don't even see it. Because everyone tells you, okay, like the moment you think of something, or the moment you think like, oh, like eating's gonna be hard right now, just that's when you choose to eat and do it. That's when you choose. But sometimes you just don't even see it, and like you're so like wrapped up in the fear that I don't know, like you're just blind to how bad it actually is. So I think it's definitely important to have people who are there and can monitor you, be like, are you okay? Or like, do you want to eat with me? Or like, what are the actual feelings that you're feeling right now? Because if you're just doing it on your own, then you're going to feel so alone, and it's going to feel so much more hard and scary.
Yeah. I think a lot of times, again, tell me if I'm wrong here, because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like a lot of times the more you talk about the struggle, the more you talk about the irrational thoughts that feel so real in your mind, the more they become like neutralized. When you say things out loud, you're like, wait, like let's fact check that, okay? And when we'd start talking about stuff, it was almost like these light bulbs would turn on, like, oh my gosh, these are just freaking beliefs in my head. They're not real. It's not really who I am. This is an eating disorder, not a personality trait, not who I am. It's something I'm struggling through.
Yeah, and just like everybody's struggling with stuff. Because sometimes you don't even realize the thoughts that are going through your head until you say them out loud. Like, okay, what are you feeling? Like, what is this belief behind these behaviors you're doing? Like, I feel like I am a terrible person, or I'm not good enough if I eat a brownie. Like, it's a brownie. Like, even though it's hard in the moment, and sometimes you actually believe that, like, eating this one brownie is going to make you fat or make you a bad person, or, like, it's not. It actually can bring joy. Like, food's supposed to bring joy and supposed to taste good and help nourish and strengthen your body. Like, there's little things like that. Like, it can be anything. Like, your thoughts aren't stupid, but sometimes when you say them out loud, like, you realize how untrue they are.
Yeah. One thing I was just picturing is when we started talking about the bigger picture. Like, it's so easy. Things, especially people who have been through trauma. Like, Bostyn and I do a lot of trauma work because a lot of what she was going through was like a reaction to a bigger thing that happened in her life. But when you kind of like hone in on the trauma, wow, we are just like all sorts of codes. When you hone in on the trauma, you realize because of something in the past that was really big, in little moments when it comes to your mind, it makes everything around you and everything you're going through like magnified. And so we've realized that we kind of have to look at the bigger picture of things. Like, for her, you started looking at the bigger picture of like, what are my goals in life? I want to be a mom.
Yeah.
And is this eating disorder going to help that? No. It could actually prevent it.
Yeah.
And we started talking about the bigger picture and not allowing our brains to go so tight on the little picture. But because sometimes the little picture seems so big, like this brownie, oh my gosh, I can't eat this brownie, I'm gonna be the fattest person, I'm gonna be the stupidest person if I eat this brownie. Like, but really, like, if we look at the eternal perspective, not only like of eternity after we die, but like the eternal perspective of our eternal being, what is going to bring us joy?
Yeah.
And for Bostyn, I remember her looking at me and like, all I want to do someday is be a mom. I want that to be what motivates me to get through what I'm going through now. And I don't know, I think that's when you started looking at the bigger view of life. I feel like the little stuff started to be something you fought for, because you have to fight in those moments. You have to fight so hard, even though if you look in from the outside, it's like, just eat the freaking brownie. Like, it's just this small thing.
Everyone's like, just eat food, and you're like, it's not just that. Like, an eating disorder is not like the thing you're struggling with. It's usually so much more inside. And yeah, like you said, you have to find your why, and it can't just be, oh, I'm going to eat so I don't destroy my metabolism and I'm not fat when I'm older. Like, that's right. Because there's
avoiding
been times,
fatness later.
That's just still the same thing. Right. So for me, even when I was at the eating disorder treatment center, a lot of times at first I was fighting for, like, I don't need to do this for me. I don't think I need to do that. Like, I don't think I need to heal. I'm doing this for my family, for my mom and my sister, so they're not scared. So my family, so I can come home and they don't have to worry, and I don't have to be a burden. And I would just beat myself up. I would fail every time. Like, I couldn't do it. It wasn't enough, because I thought that my eating disorder is what was making me enough for everybody. So trying to get rid of it
was a new way to please people.
Yeah, it was like a new way to not be a burden and to be better and be enough for people. And so when I was failing, I wasn't doing enough, and it just spiraled. And so eventually I realized, like, I've always wanted to be a mom, and that's always been a thing. And when in my eating disorder, I couldn't, like, that part of me was being destroyed as I was hurting my body. And so I prayed to my Heavenly Father and prayed for him to know, like, how can I get rid of this? And I just, like, saw my kids in my head, and I could feel them with me, and I couldn't have them if I kept doing this. So every moment, every time I eat anything, that's my thing. Like, this is for my kids. I'm eating this for my family and for me. Like, I want to be better, and I want to become more like my Father in heaven, and this is what's going to help me do that. And that's the only way that you can get through, is finding those like those reasons that you really want, and it can't be for, I mean, I guess doing it for my future kids is kind of doing it for other people, but it's also for me. But like, you can't do it for a mom, a dad, a husband, a sister. Like, you have to do it for you and your family, like your future kids. Yeah.
We have to go inside, but we're gonna do more of these videos because we've been feeling it for a long time, that we want to share our journey because we know that it helps other people. And it also helps us to reflect on, like, okay, this is still the why. And when those things come up, and they'll come up in different ways for all of us, whether it be addiction or anything that draws you away from your purpose and your mission. And you do have to do it for yourself and strip away what you think everybody else wants you to be, and just get in tune with what God needs you to be, what you need to be for yourself and for your future family. But first you have to do it for yourself, don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so please leave comments on this video on any questions you have that we are more than willing to share, and we hope that you can share this with people who need a little boost right now, who are going through this, who are in the midst. And is there anything else you want to say before we go in? Thank you for being willing.
Yeah.
This girl right here, you guys, she is the bravest soul, and her willingness to share has helped so many people. I don't think she'll ever realize how many people. So thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes it's scary, and sometimes you don't want to do it, but I have felt for a long time like I really want to not be ashamed or scared of this thing I'm going through. I want to just be able to be united with other people who are also struggling with it.
And that word burden, this is our permission we're giving you to get rid of that belief. Most of the girls that I've talked to that have gone through this, they feel like a burden in some way, like they have to change themselves to be worthy of love. And that is never and never will be true. That has never been or never will be true. So we'll be back.
Yeah.
Are you gonna promise me right now we're gonna be back?
Yeah, we'll be back.
Okay, we'll be back. And hopefully we're not just always driving, but it very well could possibly be that we are.
Yeah.
So
there's not a lot of times. We've got 7 kids in this family.
oh yeah. And we have fake babies right now.
Yeah.
Let's check this
Child
out.
development.
Child development fake baby, and it's turned backwards because in case it cries in the car we had to help it.
Yeah. Don't put your kids in that way.
Don't put your kids in that way. But we got out of the bus yesterday to go to lunch, and there's 9 of us, okay?
Yeah.
We have 7 kids, 2 babies as it is, and Boston and Bailey both had their fake babies.
So
it was like a clown car. People around us were like looking at us like, oh my gosh, what is this?
Yeah.
But it was amazing.
They were screaming in Robetta's the entire time. It was great.
The whole time.
So
it was
fun.
Wonderful. All right, have a great day. We'll be back.
All right, love you guys.